So running a welder off a generator can be tricky business, okay? And here's why. So this Yes welder, a 120-volt welder. So that's the plug for it, okay? Now, that's cool, especially if you're in a situation where you don't have access to a 240. But here's where it gets tricky running these off a generator. So let's say I want to run it off of this generator here, 3500 running watt generator. Here's going to be the problem for you. If you were to plug that welder into here, okay, you're never going to be able to get your 3500 watts out of it. The reason is because this plug, the NEMA 520R, is on a 20 amp circuit. Here's the breaker right here, okay? In addition to that, even if I switched over to use this L530R, which is a 30 amp plug, this is also on a 20 amp circuit breaker. They share the same breaker. So on these plugs, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to get the full potential out of that welder. So the only way I'm going to be able to get my full 3500 watts out of this generator is if I somehow were to rig it up to where I plugged into this RV receptacle here and wired it directly into my welder somehow, which that's a lot of trouble to go through, right? So this is why I use this particular machine when I run welders. Let me show you up close. This is a 10,000 surge, 8,000 running watt generator, but there's more to this than just that. This plug right here is a 240, but it's a 50 amp plug on a dedicated circuit. This is the circuit for it, okay? Each one of these plugs here is on its own breaker. So this one here, this could be a 120 or a 240 30 amp plug. This here is a 30 amp 120. This is a 20 amp 120, okay? So for me to run my little 120 welder over there, I have a plug set up to plug directly into this plug right here, so I get my 30 amp out of this 120. So I try to maximize what I can get out of that machine by using this. So I still use this machine like if I have to go weld a fence because we have a property that's pretty spread out. So I'll still take this machine and I'll take a 120 with me. But I'm very well aware that I'm not going to get the full potential out of that machine. A lot of times when I need to weld stuff over on a fence or something, it's a lot of tack welding, okay? But it's not the welder, it's the generator. If you're going to run a welder off a generator, I highly suggest looking into what I have over there. And in addition to that, if you're going to run it, say, from a home circuit, really try to run it off a 30 amp breaker if you can, a dedicated circuit. Otherwise, if you're running off a 20 amp, you're only going to get that 2400 watts and you're going to be missing out on some of the power on those 120 machines.